Hello everyone and welcome to our Nautobot community meeting for October 2022. Nautobot 1.5 is in its final QA cycle and should be deployable any day now. So let's check out some of our new features we'll be releasing in version 1.5. Job log CSV export, nestable location types, device redundancy groups, generating test data in factories, and dynamic filter form tweaks. First up, job logs CSV export.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name's Han Lin, and I'll be demonstrating a new feature we added to the job result page, um, which will allow the user to export the job results after the job is done running. So let's get to it. For the purposes of this demo, I will be using example logging job, which is a job that everyone's is familiar with. That comes with our example plugin. If I click on the run slash schedule button, and if I click on run job now, this will trigger the job to run. As we wait for the job to complete here, as we can see here, there is an export button on the top right hand corner, which allows the user to export the job logs as a CSV file. So if I click on export here, you will notice here we have a CSV file just freshly downloaded. And if we go to Google Sheets or any other software, Microsoft Excel, that supports CSV file format, we can see what the content of this file is. So created, grouping, log level, log object, and messages is essentially what the logs table here on the job result page contains, with different column headers. Yeah, that's pretty much the new feature. And happy automating. Thank you very much.
Hi, Glenn Matthews here. I'm going to demonstrate an enhancement to the location data model coming in Nautobot 1.5, which is self-nestable location types. When defining or viewing a location type in Nautobot 1.5, you'll see a new nestable flag, which if enabled, indicates a location type that can contain other locations of the same type, similar to how the region, rack group, and tenant group models behave presently. In this example, I have a campus location type, which I've marked as nestable, allowing campuses to contain other campuses. And then I have child location types of building and room, which are not self-nestable because it wouldn't make sense for a building to contain another building or for a room to contain another room. With these location types, I've set up some example data to illustrate how this added flexibility can be used to reflect variations in your location hierarchy without needing to define a complex set of location types. Here we have a Charlotte campus representing a small campus with only a couple of buildings. So there's no subgroups required here. By contrast, the RTP campus is much larger and consists of several smaller campuses, some of which contain smaller campuses of their own as well. But note that a building location is still a building, no matter how deeply nested it is or isn't. All of these buildings are a single location type, so you can still do things like filtering, assignment of content types, and so forth, but giving you the flexibility that your deployment may require in terms of its data model. This enhancement to locations and location types, in addition to its immediate usefulness, is laying important groundwork for Nautobot 2.0, wherein we'll be rolling the existing region and site data models into location type and location, to make the overall data model not only simpler, but also more customizable and more powerful. Exciting times are ahead.
Hey everyone, my name's Brian, and I'm here to show off the new device redundancy group model being introduced in Nautobot 1.5. Device redundancy groups are used to model things like Cisco Stackwise switches and other such platforms. To create a device redundancy group, you'll find them under the Devices tab up at the top, and you can click Create. So we're going to call this my AMS 01 Edge Stack Switches. And I'm going to set the status to active. It is the only additional required field on the model. But we also have optional fields such as the failover strategy, currently active or active passive. We'll select active passive, as well as secrets groups. Other things like notes, tags, and comments are also supported. I'm going to go ahead and click create, and I have now created my redundancy group. You'll see on the detail view, you'll see the comments, tags, basic details, as well as the membership list. To add devices to your redundancy group, you can go visit the devices list, and you can batch select or individually edit object. Let's start with individually editing this switch right here. And I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to scroll down, and under management, you'll see device redundancy group. I'm going to select my group right here. And there is an optional field on the device for the priority. I'm going to not set it for right now to show you what you'll see. Go ahead and click update. And you'll see if you scroll down on the management section of the device detail page, you'll see the group it is a part of, as well as the priority is set to none. Going back to the redundancy group, you'll see the members. Now let's go back and add my other switch. Go back to my devices, and let's do bulk this time, although bulk of 1. Edit selected, scroll down, and select it from the side. This time, I'm going to set a redundancy group priority of 2, and click apply. I can go and view the device itself, and I can see it is now a part of this cluster or this group with a priority of 2. On the device list view, you can configure and include the fields. You'll see down here. Click save. And you'll see on the list view here, the redundancy group that it is a part of, as well as a priority. We can go back in here and visit the redundancy group. And you'll see the member table, the member table is sorted by priority, sorting numerically with none being at the bottom. I can go back into this and select edit here, so the priority of 1, and click update. Now, if I go back to my redundancy group, you'll see they are resorted. Device redundancy groups can also be used in applying config context, as well as many other features built into Nautobot, such as dynamic groups. You can create dynamic groups based upon device redundancy group properties. Device redundancy groups and virtual chassis are different in what they are intending to model. Virtual chassis imply a single management and control plane, whereas redundancy groups often have separate control planes per device. Virtual chassis also maintain special behavior for the names of the devices when they are displayed. And that's it. We hope you find this feature very valuable in modeling different and more complex network setups. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gary Snyder, and I'm going to show you some of the factory work being developed in Nautobot 1.5. We're using model factories to generate random data for Nautobot unit and integration tests, but this can also be used for deploying a Nautobot server with fake data in a non-production environment. In version 1.5, we're introducing factories for 21 common Nautobot models. A new management command is introduced to allow you to populate your database with test data. Let me demonstrate. Be careful not to use this management command on a production database because you can see it creates a lot of data. So now if I refresh this page, we have some sites, some locations, some tenants, and a bunch of IPAM data here. Here's an example of some of the prefixes that were created. If you want to be able to produce the same set of randomized data every time, you can use the seed argument to this command. And for now, we recommend that you use the flush argument when you use this command to start out with a clean database. In the future, we plan to make this more flexible so you can generate individual objects and override specific fields. So keep an eye out for more enhancements to this feature. Thank you.
Nautobot core team. I'm going to talk about the filter form enhancements. Last month, Brian presented in the community meeting about the new dynamic filter form feature, and we made a few changes that we wanted to talk about. But before that, I'll just go over the basics. We showed that all filter fields now are available using this filter button. You no longer see the filter forms on the right side of the list view here in this page. The current filter is now displayed at the top of the table view, and filtering on multiple field values is now possible. Removing filters by clicking the X on the filter in the dynamic list display is possible. Multi-value char filters can now be supported using non-database backed values. And if you want to change the filter, you just click the filter button again and then change your filter criteria. Additionally, any filters that you publish from models published by plugins will also take advantage of this feature. So just briefly, last month we showcased this feature where it was effectively this view here by clicking the filter button, and then you see these filter fields dynamically listed here. The difference now is that there's the default tab and an advanced tab. And so the default tab now shows you the filter fields that would be there by default in the previous versions of Nautobot on the right side of the list view, as I explained. Now you're able to select these, such as if I wanted to do AMS01 as a site and filter on that. And you see there now we have the little card with the X on it to filter it. If we wanted to go and do a filter that's not available in the default fields, such as name, as you can see here, we search for name, it's not there. But if we click the filter button and click advanced, go down here, scroll through to find name, and let's say we want contains, and we'll do edge. We want to find our edge devices in AMS01, and then click apply. And you see now that we have mixed use here of the default filters and the advanced filters. So for the common case, to maintain the behavior from before, you would want to choose the default filter fields, but you now have the option to use any field you want using the advanced fields. Thank you. Config normalization. In version 1.4.8 and later, we moved a number of options into Nautobot's core global default settings that had previously only been provided in a Nautobot config.py file when generated by the Nautobot server init command. This was done to simplify the configuration options and reduce the difference between the default Nautobot configuration when deploying via Docker versus natively. In general, you should notice little or no functional changes, but if you are using a minimized Nautobot config.py file, you may notice changes to Nautobot's defaults. Notably, the logging configuration defaults may now produce chattier logs. You might find it useful to generate a new Nautobot config.py file by using Nautobot server init and comparing it to your previously deployed configuration. 1.5 LTM. Nautobot 1.5 will be the last minor release version for the Nautobot 1.x release train. Nautobot 1.5 will be considered to be long-term maintenance, or LTM, and will be maintained until the release of the next major version of Nautobot, version 3.0. Nautobot 1.5 will only receive critical updates related to bug fixes, data loss issues, or security vulnerabilities. Additionally, as the development of Nautobot 2.0 evolves, we may backport developer-centric enhancements to ease the transition for users from versions 1.5 to 2.0. For more information on our LTM releases, you can visit the Nautobot documentation portal at docs.nautobot.com. From there, you navigate to Developer Guide at the top level menu, and then select Maintenance Release on the table of contents on the right-hand side of the page. Our team has just completed 2.0 roadmap planning, and we're getting ready to announce all of the great enhancements we are looking to make for the future of Nautobot. Some of the details are too early to share, but keep a close eye on the Nautobot channel and the Network to Code Slack community for more details. Thank you for watching this month's community meeting. We'll be in our Slack channel for additional conversations. Happy automating!